So hi everyone, welcome to another Icicle webinar. I'm Mariana. I'm one of the co-founders of Icicle, which is a social platform for international students. And today we're very lucky to get to do a webinar on a topic that is so asked about and so sought after, as Mohammed probably knows, but we're going to be talking about data analytics and networking with a focus on doing this as an international student. So we're really lucky to get to talk with Mohammed today, who has a background in data analytics internships, data analytics full-time jobs, and figuring all of that out as an international student in the United States. So I'm going to stop talking so that you guys can hear from him. He'll give a little bit of background about himself and his experiences, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Icicle and Ariana, for having me here. It's a great opportunity for me to, share kind of like networking and data analytics, like job strategies. And thank you for all your efforts and all you do for international students community. So I appreciate it. So yeah, as everyone know, my name is Mohammed. So I'm a data professional and currently I'm working as a senior data analyst at a beverage industry. So previously, I also worked as a data analyst at cloud data technology, and I did my master's in data science from Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago, and I graduated in 2023. And for everyone who doesn't know about me, even I'm from India, back in India. So I'm from the southern part of India, state called Karnataka. So I did my bachelor's over there in computer science, and like I worked for around like 18 months, and like then I came to US in 2021. As like everyone feels like when you come to US, you feel like a kind of like a culture shock, and you find difficulty to make friends and all those things. Yeah, even the first initial 6 months, even I faced the same. But later on, I understood that like you got to meet a lot of people here. You got to network here if you want opportunities. If you want to like land an internship, land a full-time job. So I'm glad to share that like 2 years, like a lot of people have landed internships by my post, and like a lot of people have personally reached out to me saying thank you, like during the top mate guidance. Today I'll be sharing some insights about like how as an international student you have to navigate the job search, and also like how you have to effectively like interview for a data analyst role. What does the company actually look for you, and like how you have to be like preparing for that. Yeah, thank you for having me. I look forward to connecting with you all and like sharing tips. Yeah.
I can start us off by asking you, like, what is the most common question students ask you when it comes to like trying to find a full-time job or an internship?
So I usually like tell the students that like when you are reaching out to someone, be specific. Like kind of like what you want from the other person, because like some might reply, some might not reply. So the usually lot of questions I will be getting is like hey, how are you? What are you doing? All those things. But you need to understand that you are be on a like kind of a professional platform. Like if you want to like someone to get answered quickly, because like it's not a WhatsApp, it's a LinkedIn. So just be specific, saying that hey, I'm this student, like kind of studying in this university, looking for this specific guidance and all. So this is the most common question I get, like how are you doing, what are you doing? But I make sure like even I realize that even I was in the same boat as they are in. So I make sure to reply and ask like how they are, and then we proceed with the conversation. So like it's kind of like a 60-40%, like 60 people text me regarding the full-time job search, and like 40% people will be texting like, hey, share me some tips about how to land an internship, how to get an interview call, and all those things. So these are the like common question which I'll be getting.
So what type of projects can a person do to build a portfolio for data analytics?
Okay. So yeah, so you need to like understand that like data analytics is in like every domain right now. Like kind of like you have marketing, you have supply chain, you have healthcare, you have tech industry, and you have kind of like a lot of like operations and like sales operations. On there are like a lot of domains that are like using data analytics to like extract large insights, to analyze those data sets and like make business decisions. So what I would suggest you is like kind of like shortlist some 2-3 domains where you have interest and where you want to get into. Suppose we pick it as like a marketing. So if you pick it as a marketing, go to around like a job description of a marketing data analyst. I'm not saying like go to a single job description. Check for around like 10 to 15 common job descriptions, which is like marketing analyst or a marketing data analyst. Check for the common skills they're asking. Suppose like what I have seen through my experience is like they ask about like SQL. SQL is the bread and butter for every data role. And like you should either need like one Tableau or like Power BI data visualization tool and like some sort of Python programming. And like a lot of people underestimate like kind of Excel. So that's also like really, really important. And like then, yeah, those are the common skills. So now what you have to do is like go to the job description and check like what are the like domain specific skills they're asking. Suppose like they ask about Google Analytics. So what you can do is like Google offers a free Google Analytics certificate. If you don't know about Google Analytics, go study about it, and then kind of like you get a Kaggle open source data set. You can find any marketing data set and apply your skills over there. What happens is like once you learn something about marketing, once you show the employer that like, hey, I have done Google Analytics certification. Hey, I have done the Google Analytics project, which is related to what you're asking for. Even though you don't have a specific experience, the employer does look at your projects and saying that, yes, he has like kind of some sort of domain knowledge and like what we are looking into. So this is how, kind of like build the portfolio project. Same applies to whatever domain you're looking. If you're looking to like healthcare, see what domain specific key performance indicators they're asking for, like what specific skills they're focusing on. Because like, like when it's a senior role, that's fine. They'll understand that, hey, he has some sort of background. When you're getting into as like a fresher and an intern kind of thing, you need to stand out from the crowd and showcase that, hey, I have done this. Like, you are looking for a Google Analytics and I did this project. I built a dashboard. I use SQL to extract the data and all those things. So this is how, like navigate for like a building the portfolio projects and all.
Azhar asks, what kind of skills are important for data analytics and so you kind of talked about that, but maybe what kind of steps would you recommend to develop them? Classes to take in college, projects to do, or online courses?
So yeah, as a data analyst, I would definitely say you to like start with Excel. You need to at least know about like how to navigate with various functions, aggregate functions like VLOOKUP, pivot table, macros, and all those things. Because like a lot of people directly jump into kind of like SQL kind of thing. Yeah, that's good to learn, but like understanding the basics of Excel and how things work on, like how do you use it for like automation kind of thing, like how things work, like I would definitely suggest everyone to like if you want to get into data analyst, make sure that like you learn all those Excel skills and all those things. I think you can probably find some YouTube video of like hour and a half, and can definitely can go through it. And like always go to the tutorial which is project based. Why? Because if you're just seeking the tutorial and you forgot after like 2 hours what did you study, then that doesn't make sense for you to. So make sure that like the tutorial is kind of, like kind of a project based where you apply practical skills. I'm not saying that you'll be perfect in the first project. Definitely first, second will be the wrong project, and the third will be definitely perfect as what you're looking for. So then like after learning Excel, go to the kind of SQL. SQL, like start with understanding like the fundamentals, basics of SQL, like how database works and like what are the basic queries first, like understand. Then you can probably move into joins and learn the advanced thing. Then comes like any data visualization tool, like either you can like a lot of employer ask like either of the both, like Tableau or Power BI. And like a lot of people, a lot of other employers to ask for like Click is there and Alteryx is there. So different tools are there. So it doesn't matter, but like like the most tools I have seen is like either Tableau or Power BI. So if your university or like is offering certain set of courses, then definitely I would recommend go through it, like study and do a lot of like practical projects, build a good portfolio. Then it will like definitely help you for that. Yeah, starting with Excel, SQL, and like Tableau or Power BI, and then you can like start learning Python programming, and yeah, and also having the domain specific knowledge, it makes you stand out from the crowd. Rather than just learning these skills, you should be able to like kind of explain to the employer. Because like a lot of the information you'll be communicating to the non-technical stakeholders, if you mention the SQL technical part, the other guy might not be able to understand. So how do like communication is one of the main skill for a data analyst. How do you communicate things to non-technical stakeholders, or like how do you make the things simpler? So that's how it works. Like this is how we can like navigate by learning all these skills kind of. Yeah.
So a little bit of a shift to a more general international student question, but Marie asks, She's a rising sophomore studying at Georgia Tech, and she spent her whole first year adapting to the US. So she didn't really get any internship. Is she
Okay.
too late? And she said she's scared because she heard it's harder when you're an international student and you need sponsors.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand like the situation, like how it feels like overwhelming to, like not getting like internships and like, the thing is one thing I would definitely say here is, like it's about the right opportunity and the right time. If you ever feel like, hey, my friends are getting into it, I'm not getting, so never feel like, kind of like frustrated or like sad on that part, like things might work out for you in the future, really kind of thing. What you can do is like focus on like building a portfolio projects, that's what like how it stands out to the employer basically. If you have a good portfolio, if you have a good set of projects, suppose you want to get into data analyst, right? Data analyst roles. As I mentioned previously, to shortlist few of the domains where you want to get into, what you want to do, and then you can probably start searching about the specific domain, what they're asking, and all those things. In that one by one, you can like build around like 3 to 4 projects. Those are very impactful. I think definitely you can like build a portfolio, have a good set of resume, and definitely attend career phase conferences like networking events. You never know, in like as an international student here, it's not about what you know, it's not about who you know basically. So if you know any kind of like people who are able to recommend you, who will be able to refer you, then definitely it will, gives an edge to your like online application, and you might get an opportunity. Just focus on building up your profile, building up your skills, and like do a lot of networking, reach out to a lot of people, and while reaching out to people, be shameless. This is what I'm mentioning, like just reach out to them saying that, hey, I'm a sophomore, hey, I'm a senior, hey, I'm a junior. I'm getting into data analytics. I see that your profile is looking great. While always reaching out to people, be specific, and also like it's always about them, not about you, because you're asking their time, right? So you gotta like research about their profile, what they are doing, find any kind of like commonalities or like common things which appear like which stood out for you. Then say in the message saying that, hey, I saw that you did your graduate studies in Georgia Tech. Even I am studying as a sophomore student in Georgia Tech. I would definitely love to connect with you and learn more about this specific field or not. What happens is like the person will definitely read the message. It connects them. Yeah, she's like studying in the Georgia Tech. I was an alumni over there, kind of thing. So that's how like kind of build relationships and like make sure your like profile stands out and look out for the employers. And yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to take a break from the chat questions. Samishka, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah. Thank you, Mohammed, for having this session and sharing all of the insights that you have had. My question was around the courses that you mentioned or like certifications. Is there a particular platform that you would recommend doing it through LinkedIn or doing it through like DataCamp or Coursera? Like, does it really matter where you get it done, like having the certification?
See, according to me, what I've seen is like if it's kind of like some certification exam from like AWS or Azure or like, all this, it might stand out to employers. But remaining other platforms, wherever you learn, suppose like DataCamp or like Coursera or like Udemy or like YouTube, it's all comes to that like what you have learned and how you have implemented practically. Suppose you take a SQL course from a Coursera platform. So what did you learn from it? You gained the theoretical knowledge, but practically, what did you build from it? So it's the proof, right? Like showing that, hey, I did a course from Coursera. I built a SQL project. This is what I have learned, kind of thing. So whatever you learn theoretically, maybe whichever platform it, make sure to build it, use it practically, and build a like project kind of thing, which showcase your skills, and you can justify to your employer saying that, hey, I have actually done this kind of.
Also, a follow-up,
Mm,
I mean, not a follow-up, but another question.
mm,
I'm going to be graduating in December. I'm currently pursuing my master's. When would
mm.
be a good time to start full-time applications?
You can start now. There's a good time to, like if you're graduating 6 months later, it should be like one good time to, at least able to understand like how the job market is. Are you getting any interview calls? Every 2 weeks you plan it as like kind of 2 weeks you follow one strategy, reach out to people, apply, take referrals, and do everything. If it's not working out to you, then change the strategy again. In this, like in 6 months, definitely either of the one strategy will be working.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Another one, Arpit is asking, Who should he be reaching out to on LinkedIn? For example, he created a web application and deep learning models, and he wants to market himself to corporate people, but he doesn't know who he should message. Do you have any tips regarding this?
So the answer for this will be in the job description, basically. Like a lot of people just see the title, data analyst, and start applying. There are like very few people who get into the job description and understand like which team they are seeking a data analyst, or like who is hiring kind of. And sometimes if you have a LinkedIn premium kind of thing, it appears like the hiring manager profile or kind of a recruiter profile in the LinkedIn. But if it doesn't appear, then you gotta like check the job description. In most of the cases, they mention that we are hiring for a HR team, we are hiring for a marketing team, and all those things. Now, one step, I'll just share my screen in a nutshell. So we can take this as a job description, like analyst, senior analyst, and operations planning. So typically they're asking SQL, AWS, Excel, Python. Like this is how I use like a lot of extensions to, make my job easier for applying for the jobs kind of thing. So yeah, like basically they are asking for, like kind of like operations planning kind of thing. The similar thing is mentioned in the job description. Now your job says to like kind of go to like American Airlines and people section. Sorry. Planning. So there are a lot of people you can like, suppose like if you want to like specifically you want to like apply for a Dallas, Texas kind of thing. The role is focused on that. And now there are a lot of people who are working in the similar kind of role. You can see, right? Like there are 200 people. I am not saying reach out to all those 200 people, at least like plan ahead and like whom you want to reach out to, why you want to reach out to, then definitely like kind of like schedule, shortlist some 15 to 20 profiles, then reach out to them. Once you reach out to 15 to 20 profiles, I think definitely you'll get like at least 1 or 2 replies from them. This is how, like plan kind of like reaching out to people and, like whom to reach out and what to reach out. Suppose what happens is like sometimes you get the hiring manager details, you get the recruiter details. But if every job applicant reach out to them, it will be like difficult for them to reply. So in that case, the strategy follows, like the other like kind of employees who are working in the similar department, they might be able to help you kind of thing.
I just want to highlight how important this is because when I used to work at Robinhood, which like American Airlines has thousands and thousands of employees, we had 2,000 people, but my department knew nothing about like communications department or data analysis department. So if you reached out to me, I don't know who like anyone is, but if you reached out to me from my department, I could give you a referral, I could connect to the hiring manager, but otherwise you were wasting both of our time. This is just so important, and people don't know unless you work in a bigger company, right? So this is so awesome.
Yeah.
Another question from Kaluri asking, I'm a recent grad from UT Austin. I've been actively applying for data analytics and data engineering roles, focusing on finance and healthcare.
Okay.
For full-time roles, I've applied for hundreds of them. I always wonder what to put in the do you need sponsorship questions during application.
Okay. So it's kind of you want to know about like the only sponsorship part or like more into like data analytics and data engineering?
Kaluri, do you want to expand on your question?
Yeah, sure. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. So I've been applying for roles and I've been getting quite a lot of interviews, but some of them mostly used to like reject me in the last round saying that the role is not eligible for sponsorship. So when I'm applying for roles, what I noticed is a pattern or coincidence. When I put a yes to or do you need a sponsorship of H1B, most of them I thought were auto rejects or not even heard back from them. But when I'm putting no for them, trying to explain like I have my OPT, which allows me 3 years of work experience, I did receive some calls. So I was really skeptical about putting a yes or no in the sponsorship questions in the applications.
Okay. So, Kaluri, like this answer is kind of a bit situational, like you cannot say that like exactly that you need to put yes or no. Because like most of the like big employers, like kind of like if you're applying to some well-renowned companies like known as like Amazon or Facebook or like Google kind of thing, definitely you need to put as S over there. Why? Because like they specifically ask you the questions. Like if you go to Walmart application, they ask you whether you need like OPT or STEM OPT and all those things. So you need to mention it over there. But when it comes to like other employers, some employers do mention it in the job description. For example, like Capital One specifically mentions that if they are sponsoring for that role. If they're not sponsoring, then there's no like kind of, it's just a time waste for applying. But when they mention that they're sponsoring, they definitely do. One employer I saw was very recently was a Caterpillar. Caterpillar also like mentioned specifically saying that, hey, like we apply visa for this position. So one more thing you can do is like go to H1B grader or like my visa jobs whenever you apply for the job and check the history of the company, like how many visas they have applied previously, like what they have done. If they have applied for n number of visas, kind of like every year, 1, 2, 3, or like 25, 30 and all those things, then definitely, put S kind of thing. If not, like, like you can just add it no, and during the interview, you can explain it as like you have 3 years of work authorization here. So that shouldn't affect you, like kind of your like visa status and all. So purely it's situational. So that is this is what I usually do. Like I use some extensions known as like H1B grader and like my visa job and F1 hire kind of thing to understand whether the company is e-verified or like sponsoring kind of thing. And then I suggest the employer saying that, hey, I am like eligible to like work for 3 more years. The current employer I'm working in, I didn't add S for them. I just explained my situation during the interview saying that, hey, I am on STEM OPT. I'll be eligible to 2026 and all those things. So they were able to agree for that specific thing. So yeah, you just need to, like gauge the situation and understand like how you go ahead with that. So yeah.
Got it. Just a
Hmm.
follow-up question. If a
Hmm.
position explicitly mentions that there'll be no sponsorship provided, is it
Hmm.
worthwhile for applying it, thinking that they might be considering OPT period, or should we just not just do that and go ahead with other roles?
If they're specifically mentioning that no sponsorship, then definitely, like they're never gonna consider the OPT students too, from what I have seen from my experience. And several like company, like if you go to Atlassian, like kind of thing, you will see there in job description, they specifically mention that no CPT, no OPT, no sponsorship and all those things. Yeah. I think like that's just a waste of time. If they have specifically mentioned in the job description no sponsorship, then it's kind of like just a waste. And if you have the recruiter or the hiring manager details, then you can probably just leave a message and leave an email saying that, hey, I came across this and you mentioned no sponsorship, but I'm eligible to work for 3 years. So can I apply on all those things? Because one financial company in Chicago known as like recently I had an like conversation with like Enova International. So they have a data scientist position opening since past 6 months. And there are like 1,000 to 2,000 applications. When I talk to hiring manager, why the people are not getting hired and all those things, he specifically mentioned that like out of 2,000, 1,500 kind of like applications are from OPT students. We are not hiring OPT students. We are not able to sponsor students and all those things. Yeah. If there is a no sponsorship, then it's just a waste of time. Yeah.
Thank you. That is really helpful.
Right.
Thank you.
So another question, a little bit of a shift, but
Mhm.
what are some resume tips that you would give? And would you suggest to change the location on the resume according to the job location?
So coming out of the job location, I would say that like don't add a specific location in the resume besides your name. What happens sometimes is like not every recruiter will be able to understand. Suppose you mention as a Chicago, Illinois, and apply to a job in San Francisco, but my recruiter might feel that, hey, he is looking for only in Chicago, Illinois. He's not looking for San Francisco. So kind of like that location part, I would say like remove it based on my experience. Like if you're only looking into like Chicago, Illinois focused job, then mentioning that would be like a great why, because like if the local employer is looking, then definitely they'll see your profile, see your resume, and they might be able to give an interview. So if you want to apply for a like out of state kind of roles, then definitely like remove that, like, and making sure that at least you can add a single line saying that open to relocate, like kind of thing that lets the employer know that like even if it's not the role is not in Chicago, it's in San Francisco, he or she might be able to relocate when offered the position, right? Because like you can speak to the recruiter only on the screening, but before that application is the only way that recruiter sees, right? If you mention as open to relocate, then definitely that would help for you.
Do you change your resume for every job you apply for, or do you have like how do you approach kind of the resume and application?
Yeah, again, it depends on the like job description I'm applying for. Yes, I do change like I'm focus like on the quality applications rather than quantity number. I'm not saying that the quantity works, but it might work for like few people. But in my case, always like applying to the quality roles kind of like worked out for me. What I did was like the current role I'm working it, like I didn't apply for it. I use a LinkedIn Boolean search or like kind of like a hiring data analyst and added some SQL Python skills. And I scheduled it for like I can just show it. If you go to like search and add as a hiring data analyst and post and sort it to kind of latest. So, if you go into like this search, like I'm not saying that you do your search today, the opportunities will appear. You need to understand that LinkedIn is based on algorithms, right? You have to do it daily. You have to search it daily. Once you train the specific search to the algorithm, then the algorithm lets you like get to know more about the opportunities. I see people reaching out to me saying that, hey, I did the Boolean search. I didn't find the opportunities. What I should do? You should be like, like consistent and have patience with that. Like once you do it like 1 week or like probably like 5 6 days, you do the same search and saying that the algorithm gets adjusted to it, and it shows you like kind of like a lot of opportunity. So this is how I got my basically a job. I reached out to kind of like a hiring manager, and like she replied to me and was like, hey, like give me a resume. Like once she saw my resume, then she replied back saying that, hey, you can apply to this role. Then I applied, then I got a screening call, then I had interviews, and then I got an offer. So yeah, so this is how basically it works. Yeah. So yeah, I'll also like show one more like tip and trick. I don't know like if anyone is doing. If they're doing, then definitely it's good. If they're not doing, I think it might help. There is a like kind of an extension known as TextBlaze. So if you want to reach out to someone, right, kind of like you want to like reach out to a lot of people. So what I usually do is there is a kind of like extension known as a TextBlaze. What it does is like you can create a like kind of a message or an email, just save it in the specific kind of their in the specific what's that extension. And what happens is like if you want to like reach out to this people, she's hiring for data analyst, I have added a shortcut as a new basically. So it lets me write the whole message here. So what happens is like all the messages there, and now you can go to the job description, see what skills they are looking, and like kind of change the message like bit and just send it to them. It saves a lot of your time.
You went through the whole experience of applying to internships, applying to full-time jobs, and like you said, the rejections, figuring all of this out. Do you have any like last pieces of advice that you want to share with people who are going through that experience now?
So one thing I would definitely say that like being an international student is like very like it's a hard hitting kind of thing. You could get to a lot of rejections, and also like be consistent. Never ever give up. Like the opportunity might be right there up. You just have to like reach out to right people, reach out to a lot of people. If you're applying for a single role, make sure that at least you're reaching to the 15 20 people kind of thing, because it lets you know that at least among those 15 20 any 3 4 people will reply. What it creates an impression saying that, hey, the job seeker is putting up some effort. She researched about company, she researched about profile, she reached out to her, she specifically like contacting her. So it might help you. I'm not saying that it will work you for the first second third opportunity. Once you start doing it, once stay consistent with your efforts, and like if nothing is working in span of 2 3 weeks, change your approach. Don't stick with one, because like you do have less time to get in like a full time, like a span of 90 days. I think 90 days is sufficient to get a job, from what I have seen in my experience kind of thing. So make sure never give up, stay consistent, and like reach out to a lot of people. There are people who really want to help you. You just need to figure out like how to reach out to them, and don't be like shy kind of thing that how I can ask for help. Don't be like that, and also like kind of reach out to a lot of people. And I think like if you want to like gain like more professional networking kind of thing, there is a I'll add it in the chat section. There is a website known as ADP List. It allows you to schedule your like free mentoring sessions with professional data scientists, data analysts, and data engineers, and like software engineers, and all those things all over the world, basically. So if you feel like, hey, I know this person, I don't want to like talk to him, I don't want to share my situation, schedule the call with the unknown, like who is professional in that specific field. Then you can openly talk to them, share your experience, and as their mentorship kind of thing. So this is how you to work. Like do a lot of networking, be patient, stay consistent, never give up, As I already mentioned, that it's not about what you know, it's about who you know in the US here. So this is how it works for international students here. So just like stay consistent. That's what I can say from my experience. Because all the things that have worked for me, I'm sharing with all the other students here. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I feel like
Mhm.
there's so many good pieces of advice that you shared here that honestly, like from your own experience, you garnered and you learned, and that's just incredible. Yes. So thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you so much, Mohammed.
Thank you, Ariana. Like, hope you have a great rest of your weekend.